Hey there, welcome back. You know the main reason for divorce? You'll never guess it. It's marriage. It's true. I don't know a single divorcee who wasn't married before. Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to have Catherine give you the instructions for the penultimate happiness exercise, which we call 3 good things with a twist. This exercise has to do with recognizing that for even everyday small events that start out seemingly negative, they trigger positive outcomes that would not have occurred unless the negative outcome had occurred. I recently had this happen to me. I kept trying to book these flight tickets for my family and the credit card kept getting rejected. This happened for all the credit cards that I have. Then I suddenly realized that I was trying to book tickets for an official trip and that it would be much simpler and would save me a lot of hassle if I just asked the administrative assistant to book the tickets directly. So what started out as a negative outcome, my credit cards not working or not being accepted, turned out to be a positive outcome. Even now, Catherine is trying to push me out and it seems like a negative event, but I'm sure that it's going to trigger something positive. I'm really not sure what exactly that positive thing is going to be, but I'm going to keep my eyes open for whatever positivity happens. See you soon.
It always makes me a little happy to displace Dr. Happy Smarts from stage. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it helps me connect with you guys and fulfill the need to belong. Anyways, this will be the last exercise for which I will be giving you the instructions. The next exercise is something called mindfulness, for which we have a guest speaker, Mr. Vijay Bhatt, giving the instructions. That exercise is awesome. As you will see, so is this one, which we call 3 good things with a twist. Let me start with a little background about this exercise. There's a very powerful happiness boosting exercise called 3 good things that Professor Seligman of UPenn, who is often called the father of positive psychology, is credited with inventing. The exercise involves noting down 3 good things that happen to you during the day in a journal. These 3 good things need not be something major like winning a lottery or going on a date with Hrithik Roshan or Jennifer Aniston. They could be something simple like I received a positive comment on the Aloha discussion forum, or it finally rained and my plants got free water. Professor Seligman found that as many as 94% of those who recorded 3 good things for a mere 15 days showed a significant improvement in happiness. The exercise even lifted some out of severe depression. The exercise we have in mind for you now is adapted from the 3 good things exercise. Like that exercise, this one too involves making a note of 3 good things that happened to you. But there is a twist. We want you to start with 3 bad things that happened that eventually led to good things. This can be a little tricky to understand, so let me give you some specific details now. In this exercise, we will want you to think of 3 things that started out on a bad note. For example, perhaps on your way to work, you realized that you had forgotten to take your phone, because of which you drive back. You may feel frustrated initially, but as you entered your house to pick up the phone, you may have realized that you had also forgotten to pick up your USB drive that has an important document on which you wanted to work. So what initially seemed like a negative event may have ended up saving you a lot of time. Here's another example. You may have been stuck in heavy traffic, but because of that, you may have gotten to hear a favorite song that you hadn't heard in ages. The idea is to connect the dots. As Steve Jobs might have said, for mundane everyday events, so that you recognize that few events are unambiguously negative. Of course, it's important that you don't pick extremely negative events for this exercise. For example, don't pick getting fired from work or your kid falling violently ill. Although, as Professor Raj discussed, even intensely negative events could, in the long run, lead to positive outcomes. It will be difficult for you to get past the negativity of these events to see the positive outcomes they triggered. Plus, positive outcomes from big negative events usually take some time to unfold, which means you won't be able to think of any positive consequences from them. So focus only on mildly negative events for this exercise. Events like failing to find your favorite brand of cereal or having to fill in gas when you are already a little late for work. I should mention that even for mildly negative events, you may find it difficult to think of any positive consequences. The reason is because when we think of something negative, our mind immediately thinks of other negative things, something that Professor Raj will touch upon next week. These negative thoughts will blind you from seeing the positive consequences triggered by negative events. But if you persevere, you will see that almost every negative event triggers at least one positive consequence. The way to persevere is to use the emotion regulation tactic of attention deployment. That is, use the power of your mind to stop thinking negative thoughts. Instead, take your mind back to the original negative event and retrace everything that happened as a consequence of it. You can close your eyes as you're doing the retracing of the events, if that helps. When you do this, you are bound to identify at least one positive consequence that came out of it. For example, in the process of searching for your cereal box, you may have discovered really old food rotting in the back of your cupboard. Throwing out that food may have made you feel good, or having to fill in gas when you were already late for work may have given you the opportunity to grab a much needed cup of coffee. These types of positive consequences may not fully compensate for the original negative event, but that's okay. So long as you are able to think of at least one positive consequence for each negative event, you are all set as for this exercise. This is, in a nutshell, the 3 good things with a twist exercise. With that, let me give you more specific instructions. At the end of this video, you will see a link. Clicking on that link will take you to this website. As you can see, the exercise involves 4 main steps. Step 1 is to think of 3 mildly negative events that happened and write about them in a sentence or 2 in this space. For example, I'm going to write, I didn't get enough sleep last night. Got into a mild argument with my dad. And my computer took ages to start up as my 3 mildly negative events. Then, when you click the next button, it will take you to the next page, which is step 2, connect the dots. As you can see, the 3 negative events that I came up with earlier are listed here. My task now is to think of at least one and as many as 3 positive consequences triggered by each negative event. I'm going to write, one positive thing that came out of not getting a good night's sleep is that as I lay awake on my bed, I heard my neighbor humming a really nice tune. He seemed so happy, and that made me happy. Another positive thing that came out of it is that I feel kind of a little woozy today. Normally I wouldn't find it pleasant, but somehow today I find the wooziness to be an interesting experience. Okay, I can only think of these two positive things, so I am going to move to the next negative event. For this one, getting into a mild argument with my dad, I can't think of anything positive, so I am going to skip this. For the third one, my computer took ages to start up. I can think of so many positives. Excuse to call that good-looking IT engineer to fix my computer, chance for a coffee break with friends, and have a more solid case to request a new computer. Now, as you can see here, if you weren't able to come up with even one positive consequence for a negative event, you have the option of replacing that negative event with a positive one. You can do this by clicking on the previous button. Since I'm not able to think of anything positive that came out of the mild tiff I had with my dad, I'm going to hit the previous button and replace that event with this. The coffee this morning was heavenly, right mix of ingredients. I can then come back to the same page and I'm fully satisfied with everything now, which I am. I just click next. This will take you to the next screen where you can see everything that you typed so far. The negative events that led to positive consequences and or the purely positive events. You can hit the previous button to change anything if you wish to. But if you don't want to change anything, you just click next, which will take you to step 3 of the exercise. In this step, you will provide your first and last name and email ID. Then when you click on the send button at the bottom, two things will happen. First, you will get an email with everything that you have written so far. Second, you will start receiving an email every day for the next 7 days with a link that will take you to a website where you can do the 3 good things with a twist each day. So each day for the next 7 days, you will need to think of 3 mildly negative events that happened, that triggered the positive consequences. At the end of the 7th day, you will have received 7 emails, 1 each day, of the list of negative things that led to positive consequences. Don't delete these emails because they will come in handy for step 4, which is the last step. On the 8th day, after you start the exercise, you will receive an email like this one. Click on the link, which will take you to a website on which you will be asked these 3 questions. Overall, how easy or difficult was this exercise for you? Why? How much more or less confident do you now feel that no event or outcome is purely positive or negative? Why or why not? Typically, those who do this exercise can more spontaneously see the positive consequences triggered by negative events. Did this happen to you? Please elaborate. Answering these 3 questions is step 4. Once you finish this step, click on the Done button, which will take you to the next page on which you can download a soft copy of your responses to the 3 questions. That's it for the exercise. It's a really simple exercise in concept, but not so easy in practice. Mostly because we are all so strongly wedded to judging outcomes. But with practice, you can become less judgmental of outcomes, which should make it easier to become a dispassionate pursuer of passion. Hope you have fun with this exercise and see you next week. I won't be giving you instructions next week, but I will make sure to say goodbye to you before the course ends.
Thanks for watching this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed this exercise and that you find it to be useful. Give us your feedback through the discussion forums. And by the way, I should let you know that something positive did come out of Catherine pushing me out. I got to see a bunch of people doing an impromptu dance and I joined them. I'm going to play you that clip.
Clap along.